January 6, 2026. Paris. Israeli and Syrian officials shake hands after creating a joint fusion mechanism. Sworn enemies now sharing intelligence. That same day, Iranian police fired tear gas in Tehran. Protests spread to 27 provinces. Inflation hits 42%. The government cuts the internet. Then rumors explode. Syria's leader might be dead. Hospital photos leak. Officials deny it, but Israeli intelligence confirms Iran has an active assassination plot. What's real? What's propaganda? And why does Matthew 24 describe this exact chaos? I'm showing you verified facts, confirmed lies, and what Jesus said to do when you see this. Here's what's happening. Let's start with Iran, because what's happening right now is unprecedented. On December 28, 2025, shopkeepers in Tehran's Grand Bazaar walked out. They weren't protesting politics. They were protesting survival. Iran's rial had crashed to 145,000 tomans per dollar. Food prices jumped 72% in 1 year. Medical supplies up 50%. Inflation officially hit 42.2%, but locals say it feels worse. Within days, protests spread. Not just Tehran. 27 of Iran's 31 provinces. Over 280 locations. This isn't a capital city uprising. This is nationwide. And here's what makes it different. These aren't political activists. These are ordinary people who can't afford bread. The government's response? Brutal. At least 36 to 42 people confirmed dead, including children. Over 2,200 arrests. And here's where it gets concerning. 166 of those detained are under 18 years old. The regime is jailing kids. Then the internet goes dark. NetBlocks reports a nationwide blackout. Phone service cut. The regime doesn't want the world watching. Now, and you've probably heard claims that police are joining the protests. I need to be straight with you. That's unverified. What we do have is footage of protesters chanting "Police officers, support us," hoping they'd switch sides. And here's what's interesting. Iran International reported the regime brought in 800 Iraqi Shia militia members. Why? Possible concern that Iranian police might not fire on their own people. But might not follow orders is different from actively joining protests. No confirmed defections yet. What is confirmed? Security forces raided hospitals to arrest wounded protesters. They're using live ammunition, tear gas. This isn't crowd control anymore. But while Iran burns internally, they're making external threats. And that brings us to what's happening with Israel. Here's what happened in Paris that nobody saw coming. January 6th and 7th, 2026. Fifth round of talks between Israel and Syria, U.S. mediated. And they actually reached an agreement. Let me explain why this is shocking. Syria has been a hardline enemy of Israel for decades. Even after Assad fled to Russia, the new government, led by al-Sharaa, made it clear they hate Israel. Al-Sharaa himself used to lead Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, an Al-Qaeda affiliate group during the Syrian civil war. His commanders have publicly vowed death to Israel. So why is Israel cutting deals with a former Al-Qaeda commander? Because Syria is trapped. When Assad collapsed, Israel destroyed most of Syria's modern military capability. Bombed it. Gone. Israel also grabbed Syrian territory in the buffer zone and made it clear they'll use military force anywhere in Syria if their security is threatened. They've already done it multiple times. Turkey's squeezing Syria from the north. The U.S. is their only real option for support, and the U.S. wants this deal. So here's what they agreed to: a joint fusion mechanism. Basically, a dedicated communication cell. Israel and Syria will share intelligence, coordinate military de-escalation, and explore commercial opportunities. All supervised by the United States. Both sides are working toward a future security agreement. President Trump wants them to sign something at Mar-a-Lago as soon as possible. He personally asked Netanyahu to restart these talks when they met. But here's the problem. Can you trust a deal with someone whose entire career was built on jihadist ideology? Al-Sharaa can put on a suit and play basketball with American generals. Doesn't change what he believed 3 years ago. Israel knows this. Netanyahu insisted any deal cannot cross Israel's red lines on security. They want protection for Syria's Druze minority. They want areas south of Damascus demilitarized. They want leverage. Syria wants the 1974 disengagement agreement reactivated. They want Israel to withdraw to positions held before December 8, 2024, before Assad fell. It's a political chess game, both sides smiling while holding knives behind their backs. And then the rumors started about al-Sharaa. So here's where things get messy. And this is where we need to be really careful about what's verified versus what's just internet noise. Rumors started circulating that al-Sharaa was seriously injured in an assassination attempt. Hospital photos appeared online showing someone in a bed. Social media exploded with speculation. Syria's interior ministry came out fast. They called it completely false. They released video of al-Sharaa in Damascus on Monday evening, January 6th, walking through local shops using new Syrian currency, basically saying, "Look, he's fine." Now, some people online claim that video was actually filmed the week before. I cannot verify that timestamp claim. It's speculation. What I can tell you is Syrian officials explicitly denied any assassination attempt happened. So is this just fake news? Not entirely, because here's what is verified. Israeli intelligence warned on January 5th and 6th that Iran is actively plotting to assassinate al-Sharaa. That's confirmed. Israel passed this intelligence to Syrian authorities as a warning. And there's more. Back in November 2025, Syrian authorities foiled 2 separate ISIS assassination plots against him. So threats against al-Sharaa are real. He's a target. But the hospital photo, the injury rumors, Syrian government denies it. No independent confirmation. Could be Iranian disinformation trying to create chaos. Could be ISIS propaganda. Could be nothing. What we know for certain, Iran wants him dead. ISIS wants him dead. Whether they tried this week, unconfirmed. But here's what should concern you more than rumors. The U.S. is making moves near Iran's borders. Now let's talk about what the U.S. is actually doing. And I need to be careful here because there's a lot of speculation floating around. According to reports from Defense Mirror, at least 8 U.S. Air Force C-17A transport aircraft arrived at RAF Fairford in the UK, with around 150 trucks carrying troops and equipment departing U.S. bases in Iraq toward positions in Syria. I'm citing this as according to reports because this comes from a single defense news source, not multiple independent confirmations. What I can confirm with certainty, President Trump issued a warning on January 4th. He said if Iran violently kills peaceful protesters, the U.S. will come to their rescue and is locked and loaded and ready to go. That statement is verified. Iran's response is also confirmed. Their Army Chief Major General Amir Hatami, he threatened preemptive military action on January 7th over U.S. rhetoric targeting Iran. Iran's Defense Council warned they may respond before an attack if they detect clear signs of threat. So we have verified threats from both sides. What we don't have is evidence of imminent U.S. strikes against Iran. The reported troop movements, if accurate, look more like precautionary positioning than attack preparation. Here's what's undeniable. Syria is under pressure from every direction. Turkey squeezing from the north, with territorial ambitions. Israel holding military leverage from the south after destroying Syria's capabilities when Assad fell. The U.S. offering support, but demanding cooperation with Israel. Iran's regime making threats while barely controlling its own streets. Syria's trapped. Multiple powers closing in. No good options. This is exactly the kind of geopolitical chaos Jesus described, which brings us to Matthew 24. So let's connect what's happening right now to what Jesus said 2,000 years ago. Matthew 24. The disciples asked Jesus, "What will be the sign of your coming and of the end of the age?" Jesus doesn't dodge the question. He gives them a pattern, a checklist of what to watch for. Verse 4 and 5. Watch out that no one deceives you, for many will come in my name, claiming, "I am the Messiah," and will deceive many. Deception is the first sign. And look at what we just covered. Al-Sharaa puts on a suit, plays basketball with American generals, shakes hands in Paris. But 3 years ago, he was leading an Al-Qaeda affiliate. Can a jihadist commander suddenly become a peaceful diplomat? Maybe. Or maybe it's exactly the kind of deception Jesus warned about. Verse 6, "You will hear of wars and rumors of wars, but see to it that you are not alarmed. Such things must happen, but the end is still to come." Wars and rumors of wars. Read that again. Not just wars, rumors of wars. We just sorted through verified conflicts and unverified assassination rumors. Iran threatening preemptive strikes. The U.S. saying locked and loaded. Syria caught between multiple powers. That's Matthew 24:6 playing out in real time. But notice what Jesus says, do not be alarmed. Don't panic. These things must happen. It's part of the pattern. Verse 7, nation will rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. There will be famines and earthquakes in various places. Nation against nation. Iran versus its own protesters. Israel versus Syria's jihadist past. Turkey squeezing Syria. The U.S. threatening Iran. This isn't one conflict, it's multiple nations in tension simultaneously. And look at the famine part. Iran's food prices up 72%. People can't afford bread. That's not abstract prophecy. That's happening now. Verse 8, all these are the beginning of birth pains. Birth pains. That phrase is important. When labor starts, contractions are far apart. Then they get closer, more intense, faster. What we're seeing could be early contractions, events stacking on top of each other. Iran's economy collapsing, while Syria signs impossible deals, while assassination plots circulate, while military forces position. The pace is increasing. Now, some people look at Ezekiel 38 and see a different puzzle piece. Ezekiel describes a coalition coming against Israel, Persia, which is modern-day Iran, Turkey, other nations forming an alliance. Is that alliance forming right now? I don't know. But the pieces are moving into position. Syria's role is interesting too. Isaiah 17 talks about Damascus becoming a heap of ruins. Damascus is Syria's capital. Israel has already struck Syria multiple times. Could Isaiah 17 be staging? Possible. Here's what you need to understand. Jesus didn't give us these signs to scare us. He gave them so we'd recognize the season, so we'd be prepared, so we wouldn't be caught off guard. Verse 42, therefore keep watch, because you do not know on what day your Lord will come. Keep watch. That's the job. Not panic, not fear, watch. And Jesus didn't just say watch. He gave specific instructions for what to do. That's next. So here's what Jesus actually told us to do. This is the protocol, the instructions for the first 24 hours when everything starts falling apart. Matthew 24:15-16. So when you see standing in the holy place, the abomination that causes desolation, spoken of through the prophet Daniel, let the reader understand, then let those who are in Judea flee to the mountains. First instruction, when you see the sign, move immediately. Don't hesitate. Don't debate. Flee. Now, we're not in Judea. Most of us aren't in the Middle East. But the principle applies. When you recognize the moment, act. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for consensus. Spiritual decisiveness matters. Verse 17-18, let no one on the housetop go down to take anything out of the house. Let no one in the field go back to get their cloak. Second instruction, don't go back for stuff. When the moment comes, what? Your possessions don't matter. Your relationship with God matters. Your family's safety matters. Your things don't. This is about priorities. What are you holding on to right now that you'd need to let go of in a crisis? Jesus is telling you to identify that now, before the crisis. Verse 20, pray that your flight will not take place in winter or on the Sabbath. Third instruction, pray about timing. Pray for favorable conditions. Even in prophetic fulfillment, prayer matters. God cares about the details of your escape. But here's the part people miss. Luke 21:28 adds something critical. When these things begin to take place, stand up and lift up your heads, because your redemption is drawing near. When you see these signs, don't collapse in fear. Stand up. Lift your head. Why? Because if you're a believer, this means Jesus is coming. Your redemption is close. So the first 24 hours aren't about panic. They're about four things. 1. Spiritual readiness. Is your relationship with God solid right now? Not tomorrow. Right now. If Jesus returned today, are you ready? 2. Situational awareness. Keep watching. Monitor developments. Don't bury your head in distractions. Stay alert. 3. Community connections. Know who your people are. The body of Christ isn't optional in crisis. It's essential. Who are you connected to? Who would you flee with? 4. Resource preparation. Not hoarding, not panicking, but wisdom. Do you have basics covered? Water, food, a plan? Proverbs says the wise see danger and take precautions. That's not fear. That's faithfulness. This isn't about building bunkers. It's about building faith that can withstand what's coming. But there's one more thing happening that changes the timeline. Here's what I'm tracking in the next 48 hours. Iran's internet blackout can't last forever. When communication reopens, we'll see what really happened during the silence. How many died, whether the protests grew or got crushed. The al-Sharaa situation. If Iran's assassination plot is real, they'll try again. Israel's watching. The U.S. is watching. Something will break. And Syria's deal with Israel? That's a clock ticking. How long before one side violates it? Matthew 24 says the birth pains get closer together, faster, more intense. I'm watching 3 specific developments that could confirm we're further along than most people think. The pattern is accelerating.